Welcome to Rewatch-and-Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Grey's Anatomy, Season 4, Episode 15, Freedom. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened in the episode. So this episode was a double-length episode, but it did only focus on 3 patients. The first one is a boy who came in encased in concrete, which he laid in order to impress a girl, and it takes them a while to figure out exactly how to get him out of it, and the whole team is working on him the entire time to try to save his life, which they ultimately end up doing. And the real kicker is that the girl he likes him back, but is too embarrassed about the fact that the rest of the school thinks that he's, well, like the smart one, a nerd, geek, that sort of thing. So basically, she's friends with some boys who bully him. She's embarrassed to like him or to be seen around him. But ultimately, by the end of the episode, she does come around and visit him. Though whether she gets over it enough to go out with him after that, we don't know. Next, we have the trial patients, and there's 2 of them. So I guess there's 4 patients, but there's first a boy patient who is in love with the female patient. They found the trial together. They were in the same support group. They fell in love and entered the trial together. However, he does his surgery first and he does end up passing away, but she ends up going ahead with the trial anyways because the type of tumor that they have is deadly anyways, so she thinks it's worth a shot, and she becomes the first successful trial patient in Meredith and Derek's trial and is the first and only one to survive. Then we have Rebecca's condition continuing to decline, and when she attempts to take her own life, Alex brings her in. Izzy insists on a psych evaluation. They call her husband. He actually ended up leaving her because she does have a disorder, and that disorder was in existence before the ferry accident, but because her entire face changed then, it just kind of exacerbated what was already there and just made her condition worse because now, of course, she doesn't recognize her face. She has a whole new face. But she basically is committed into the hospital, and based on what I can see online, this is the last episode she appears in, so it would seem they never continue past her hospital stay. And then basically the rest of the episode was a bunch of various relationship dramas. Callie finally comes to terms with her feelings for Erica. Christina gets the sparkle pager. Izzy gets the clinic, which aren't romantic, but those were just 2 things that I remembered. Lexi steals files and finds out information about many of the other residents and learns that George only lost his spot as a resident by 1 point, and the chief is going to let him retake his test. Then, romantic-wise, Callie and Erica get together. Derek slips up, and when he's kind of upset about the fact that the trial was only allowed to have 1 more patient, though they snuck in 2 because the deadline was midnight and they decided to do 2 surgeries in the same day to sneak in the extra patient. He had mentioned that she was, like, he was failing her time and time again, not them as in the patients, but her as in Meredith. Rose picks up on that, which means that she won't be surprised because at the end of the episode, Meredith finally figures out, through therapy, that she does want to be with Derek and she does want to trust him, give it a try, and, starts to heal some of the damage left behind by her mother. And she does a grand romantic gesture, building a floor plan out of candles on his land to basically say she wants forever with him, so he then has to go and break up with Rose, though he hasn't done that yet. When the episode ends, he just leaves to do so. Alex and Izzy sleep together, but that's because he's grieving over the fact that Rebecca is now being committed, and obviously their relationship ends because she's not seen again. Um, who else? There were so many. Oh, another non-romantic situation was Christina got to do heart surgery under the chief's supervision, basically solo, which distressed Erica because she's of course been trying to crush Christina's spirit, and the chief even goes to her and says like, this is a teaching hospital, you have to teach your interns, like, if not crush their spirits, and if you can't do that, maybe you're not going to be working here much longer. Sloane and Callie were still sleeping together, but he's the one who pushes her, makes her realize that she's into Erica, so that presumably is either going to taper off and or end here. What else happened? So much. Oh, Richard and Adele, that's another romantic through line. She lets him move back in, and then Lexi seems to be developing a crush on George. Um, so that's happening as well. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's all of them for like the main things that happened, and honestly, I'm probably forgetting a few because a lot happened in this episode, but I think those are the main ones covered. Which brings us to the rankings and our mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. And again, I may have missed some, but I don't believe that anything that I missed will actually impact the score, and you'll find out why, because the score is extremely high, because just so much happened, and the positives far outweigh the negatives, and so even if I'm missing some of the major milestones that occur, it wouldn't impact the score, but I tried to get all of them. Though, again, so much happened, I don't know that I did. Anyways, we have our single episode supporting character introductions. We have Andrew Langston, Jeremy West, Lola, and Beth Monroe. Those are the two couples or couple-like figures from the episode. Obviously, Beth is the one who survives the surgery, and then her boyfriend ends up dying in the surgery before hers. Oh, another romantic plotline. Derek and Meredith arrange so that she can have her first time with him before their surgeries, so that she has that experience with him before he passes, which was a choice. And then Lola, of course, her non-boyfriend but friend that she likes but doesn't want to like or is embarrassed to like, is the one who is stuck in the concrete. Then we have our supporting relationship development, which of course Richard moves back in with Adele, Izzy and Alex kind of grief bang, and then Callie gets with Erica. Then we have the multi-season supporting character development, which is that Rebecca attempts to take her life and then ends up committed in the hospital. Impactful, memorable, moment line, etc. The candle floor plan, very memorable moment, very romantic moment. Stays in the mind, one of the main scenes that does carry forward throughout like all 22 seasons. That's like a one that you'd flash back to. Multi-season main character development. Christina gets the Sparkle Pager from Meredith. George failed the intern exam by 1 point and gets the opportunity to retake the test. Then Christina is, according to her file that Lexi steals. Apparently she is dyslexic, which I don't think has come up before, which is why I'm counting that as a character development, because it's adding a trait to her. And then Izzy is given the clinic by Bailey. We then have our main relationship development, which of course is Meredith and Derek getting back together with the whole candle floor plan. But he basically tells her in order to be with her the way he wants to be with her, and to be with her with a clean conscience, he has to speak to Rose, so he does go to speak to Rose. Then we have our negative messaging or behavior. Lexi steals files she's not supposed to know about from the chief's office, reads the personal, private, protected information of her colleagues, and not even just her colleagues, but the residents, which are her bosses. And then she goes ahead and tells George about it, also gives him information that was in the files. And she's basically, when he finds her sitting in a supply closet with the files all spread out in front of her, basically saying, you know how I said I wasn't a thief? Actually, turns out I'm probably a thief because she went and stole them. Couldn't help herself. But it's the privacy violation and the theft that both, I think, deserve the negative 2 points for the negative messaging and behavior. Meredith bends the trial rules by sneaking in a second patient before the midnight deadline for the end of their trial. She lies to Derek, saying that she cleared this extra patient with the chief. She did not do so. Therefore, technically it's still within the rules because they were given till midnight, but the chief had told her when he told her about the end of the trial that they were allowed one more patient, but she snuck in the second, which I think is unethical. But again, it's not breaking the rules, it's bending it, but I still think the fact that she lied about clearing it is what's negative messaging or behavior takes 2 points. Then Alex, he's reluctant to have Rebecca committed, and Izzy basically has to put her foot down, but before she does so, when she's still trying to be his friend, not Rebecca's doctor, he does call her names. He calls her really mean names and swear words, and that obviously it's an emotionally charged situation, but you should be mindful of the things that you say to people, even when you're angry, and so I did take 2 points for that as well. And then the last of the negative points, we had our supporting relationship regression or breakup. Again, Derek worries about failing her, not them, during the trial, which Rose, of course, is the one he's talking to. So she obviously realizes who he's actually talking about, which, of course, will make her somewhat insecure. But then, after Meredith's grand gesture with the floor plan and the candles, he again says he needs to speak with Rose because in order to be with Meredith with a clean conscience, he needs to break up with her. So that's going to happen. So we're obviously on the decline now. And I imagine the breakup will be next episode, most likely. And then we of course have Rebecca being committed. Therefore, she's not going to be in the series again, and therefore her relationship with Alex will be over. Plus, he's now slept with Izzy, which I'm sure they'll probably regret and have a little bit of a regret arc before anything there continues. But the point is, even with all of those together, we're still in the 20s, and the highest score possible is a 10. Therefore, it is a 10 out of 10 episode. This also happens to be the finale episode, therefore our list is now set in stone, definitive for this season, and as always, when more than one episode has the same score, we would rank in episode order. So to begin, we have in first, A Change Is Gonna Come, second, Physical Attraction, Chemical Reaction, third, Where the Wild Things Are, fourth, The Becoming. This episode came in fifth place, Freedom, sixth, Kung Fu Fighting, seventh, Piece of My Heart, eighth, Love/Addiction, ninth, Haunt You Every Day, 10th, Forever Young, 11th, Let the Truth Sting, 12th, Lay Your Hands on Me, 13th, Losing My Mind, 14th, Crash Into Me, and in 15th place we have The Heart of the Matter. Personal ranking for this episode, I also gave it a 10 out of 10. We had very interesting patient with the whole trapped in concrete thing. All the relationship dramas came to a head and either ended or started, and that was incredibly compelling to watch. It was a double episode, so there was so much that happened. Even career-wise, Christina got to fly solo and got the Sparkle Pager. Izzy got the clinic given to her by Bailey. George gets to retake his intern test, so if he passes, he'll get to be a resident like the others. And then again, like all of the relationship dramas, Meredith finishes her therapy, tells Derek she's now gone and got herself all whole and healed. But overall, like, there wasn't anything in this episode that I thought was boring. There wasn't anything in this episode that I didn't like. It also has the floor plan scene, which I think is, like I said, one of the most memorable scenes of the series and also of Derek and Meredith's relationship as far as milestones go. So it had a lot going for it. So I felt 10 was fair. And again, because this is the last episode, we have our definitive list. And in first, we have Freedom. Second, Where the Wild Things Are. Third, Physical Attraction, Chemical Reaction. Fourth, Piece of My Heart. Fifth, A Change Is Gonna Come. Six, Haunt You Every Day. 7, The Becoming. 8, Love/Addiction. 9, Forever Young. 10. Lay Your Hands on Me. 11. Let the Truth Sting. 12. Kung Fu Fighting. 13. Crash Into Me. 14. The Heart of the Matter. And in 15th place, and my least favorite of the season, was Losing My Mind. And now we're at the series ranking so far finally, and we have our, again, definitive final spot for season 4. So our mostly objective ranking, season 1 was in first place with 77.78%, season 2 second, 76.67%, season 3 was 66.52%, and season 4 came in with 98 out of 150, so it scored 65.33%, which does put it in 4th place. Personal ranking side, season 3 was at 77.39%, season 2 at 72.22%, season 4 ended with 106 out of 150, which gave it a score of 70.67%, putting it into 3rd place, and then season 1 is in 4th with 66.67%. But with that, we've now rewatched and ranked Grey's Anatomy Season 4, Episode 15, Freedom. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode, which will be the first episode of Season 5.